The seminal moments are big on that show. I remember you telling me that one time you were at Lawrence the first time you met Paul McCartney.
Oh yeah, that was
just the knock at the door. I'll get it. Open it up. Dooby.
Well, I had not been on Saturday Night Live, and I didn't really know anything, but I got hired to get on the show, and that's a whole other story. I go out to Lorne Michaels' mansion out in Long Island, and I'm just completely blown away that I'm in New York. I've never really been anywhere. I got on Saturday Night Live. The show, for the very first time, did not have a full season pickup, and I decided I don't really belong here. And anyway, so then Lorne goes, well, tonight Paul's coming over, and I literally, and I know it sounds like a bit, but Paul McCartney and Linda are going to drop by. So I went back to the Jack Nicholson room, and I called friends in San Francisco and said, Paul McCartney's coming here tonight. And they were all blown away I was going to meet him. And around 10 o'clock I went...
one of your heroes.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Beatles, yeah, are just...
Lennon maybe more so. Or are you more McCartney?
No, I think Lennon is the ultimate crazy, and like Paul's, I wouldn't want to have had his childhood, you know. Lennon's just transcendent, but the two of them together, I mean, I could go on about the Beatles, but I do have a Meet the Beatles signed, and also have a nice, this will complete the story about Paul, and what a really nice guy he is, but... so I answered the door, and it's at the mansion, and it's Paul McCartney and Linda, and it's just me and Lorne, and Chevy was there, who said he liked my audition tape, which also made me nervous. And Paul literally said to me, your face is going a bit funny. What do you know, this here for you. Just blushed, or, you know, I couldn't believe it. You know, I was meeting him after he was the first guy I did the impression of in /64, and we all worshiped the Beatles.
His
and
first words to you.
Your face is going a bit funny. You know, this here for you.
It's really me.
Yeah, and that's okay. But I had the press.
Something to kind of stabilize us towards the end of the crazy 60s, and it's a lifelong gift. You know, it's something that you can call on at any time.
Comes to mind. Now, this is a good piece of advice. If you're a fan of somebody, you got to go a little bit left of center, or something they're not expecting. So at that moment, after we kind of gathered around, and they brought out, you know, the whole thing about smoking pot. That's a whole other part of the story. But my friends and I had also gotten into the Tug of War album, and the song Tug of War. So instead of going to Paul, who wrote She Loves You? You know, that kind of thing. Is Ringo a good drummer? You know, which he gets all the time, you know. Right. I said, in the song Tug of War, the lyric during the chorus, someday we'll stand up top in the mountain with our flag unfurled, but it won't be soon enough. And his face dropped. You know, and he's like, well, I always imagined it as a big old flag, you know, well, when it gets, I'm pressed to play. He goes, I brought it over, and Linda goes, see, I told you you'd want to hear it, because I was like, hey, that's great. But what happened was...
Which informs you that before they came over, they were actually discussing whether you'd want to hear it.
And I'd never been on TV or anything. I was just a guy. But I said, here's the really, really interesting moment. Paul had a demo that he'd done with Phil Spector, not Phil Spector, maybe Phil Ramone, anyway, one of the Phils, in New York. Never been on an album. And he's a little shy, but he doesn't know who does Paul hang out with, who does Paul play stuff for. And Lorne, you know, is really smart, and they were friends. And so he puts it on, and we're listening to it. Like 5 of us in this living room. Whitney Brown, Lorne, you know, Linda. And Linda's kind of draped over Paul, you know. And Paul's where you are, literally this close. And I'm listening to it, and it's really good. It's got all the McCartney melodic stuff. And he leans into me after we become fast friends. He says, quote, sometimes when you're writing, you try to live up to whatever. You end up ruining the fucker. Jesus. I was like, oh my God, you know. He's opening up to me, and I thought, this guy sits down and goes, well, I did Eleanor Rigby, now let me do another one, you know. Help me, you know, so then they were very nice. Linda, really cool. They were very worried that Paula wasn't there, because I thought the show was going to be over. My wife had just got out of college. She had a really cool job writing speeches for a politician in L.A., so I was there, and Linda was very concerned. Like, I think they were so warm to me. And
hadn't even done a show yet.
Hadn't done a show, and I really wanted to make Paul laugh, was the other thing you want to do.
Sure. Which,
just as a real quick insert, one night, Neil Young, we had dinner with Neil Young, me and Phil Hartman and some people, and Phil and I said, let's fucking kill Neil Young. Let's just take him apart. So we just went ballistic, because we were feeding each other, we having beers, and we got Neil look Chinese. He was just so happy. Phil's doing all these accents. I'm doing, no, we are Neil Young. You know, we just went nuts. You know, Neil Young joins us. You know, we're doing. And so I wanted to make Paul laugh. So it came up this story about a man who was training a horse for a photo shoot. Or Lauren brought it up, I think. And the horse started to shit in the background. That was part of the joke, you know. And I came up with, and we were very stoned, we were out on the lawn, it's like 3 in the morning. I came up with this idea that the horse wrangler, this old man, had to drop his pants and take a shit to show the horse how to do that. And Paul thought that was the funniest thing he's ever heard. So he's doing it for the guys, the horse can see what he's supposed to do the comedy thing. Oh, I can't believe it. Linda, I love this man, you know. So we hung out for like a week, and that was the last I'd really seen of him. And then about after Saturday Night Live, after the goofy movies I made, 10 years later, 12 years later, this package arrives, and it's a big framed, it's his Flowers in the Dirt album, and it's the LP, and there's a nice note saying, "Dear Dana, we're giving this to a couple hundred of our grooviest friends. You hope you enjoy it. Paul McCartney." I have all these weird, you know, weird things that connect. We all do.
Well,
here's a bit that I did you might appreciate. Real quick. And it's not a big. I just said, you know, I love Lennon so much. Remember John Lennon's song "Watching the Wheels"? And it was that he had taken 5 years off and watched TV and read the New York Times and raised his kid.
Right.
So John Lennon in 2009.
Holy shit.
He'd be like, "Oh yeah, okay, I can't look on the song. There's a cat flush in the toilet on YouTube."